Oh my god, this is like a new definition of low quality. Alright, Bug, I'm in Ptfs if you'd like to join.
Where you at?
Airbase Gary. What should I fly today? I already got a comment on stream. Jesus fucking Christ! My stream has not been up for a minute and he's already joining. No offense to him. That's like quick as fuck.
Who, RJ?
No. Wait, yes, RJ.
That guy sucked. I'm sorry, bro, but no comms, no nothing, bro. It's hard to play with someone like that, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was carrying someone. Zero comms, me by myself.
Who spawned something here?
Carrying you. 7 crown ones back to back, bro.
I'm gonna go with the F-16 for today. I got the notification after a 747 and testing went over me. We shall taxi out to the runway and go to Scrampton, Bug.
Imagine being banned from nature because of the color of your skin. Well, before 1969, only white people were allowed at Florida's Silver Springs. Black people, well, they had to go here. This is the story of Paradise Park. Now, Paradise Park was born in 1949. It was designed as a quote-unquote haven for black families who were turned away from the white-only Silver Springs. Despite the injustice, tourists made the best of this place. Black families traveled from across the
full afterburner. Okay, so I'm going to be turning that video off. Because it talks about... I think it was talking about how black people couldn't, like, go to a certain place. Not the type I want to be having on stream. Look at that Russian loser. What a loser. No, we're gonna get away from the afterburner. I guess I'm leaving Bug here. Are we dead ass?
What? Where you at, Roanoke?
I'm heading to RAF Scrampton in an F-16. Okay, I thought that buzzing was through my end. It is not. That's from my brother playing a fucking game on his tablet. He's playing a FNAF game from what I could tell. Ah!
Alright, since I won it, the run give
The glaze of the SU-57 is, like, insane. I'm not even going that fast. I'm just at it to where no afterburner.
The final race of the Formula One season was in Abu Dhabi last night, and they may have had one of the coolest flyovers of all time. Etihad posted this video of the flyover, thankfully for us, and that might give you a hint of what these planes are. So, of course, the plane in front is an Etihad A380, which would be so cool to see fly this low. And then behind we have the Al Fursan aerobatic team that flies MB339s with the colors of the flag of the UAE, of course. That is just so cool. The final race of the Formula One.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool. VC only for ATC? Kinda lame. Not gonna lie. Yeah, we're going full afterburner. Excuse me. Damn, we only have one person watching now. That's kind of tragic. I'm gonna touch Mason. Stay quiet.
What?
Heh. I'm good. I don't want to play Fortnite right now.
Oh crap, I passed away. Wait a minute. Mark, I might have passed it.
I'm about to pass it too.
Who is? Ah.
Wait, Roanoke.
Hmm?
Remember that Thai guy? What is that what's it called? That guy from GTA? CEO name? Thai?
What about him?
Yeah, I know. Click,
Yo.
This is
Today I made a compilation of 35 minutes of car facts you probably didn't know. Let's not waste any time. Thank you to my channel members. Subscribe to become part of the 10% of people that are subscribed. I call them
You are cleared for landing. I'm going to absolutely nerf the shit out of the fucking advertisements on YouTube.
Humane Labs Boxville, which is used during one of the preps for the Humane Labs raid.
Fuck you, Goth AI.
Purchasable on Warstock Cash and Carry. The Post-Op Boxville, seen during one setup mission for the Pacific Stack device, also purchasable on Warstock Cash and Carry. The Los Angeles Department of Water and Power Boxville, seen during random side missions and can sometimes spawn around the docks. The gold postal Boxville, which is also used for various side missions and whatnot.
He's a friendly, apparently.
Also used for side missions. The taco truck also uses the Boxville as a base model, but it's modified slightly to transform it into a food truck, of course. So technically that is another Boxville. And the armored Boxville, which was added as part of import-export. A pretty cool truck for a decent amount of money though. There was also a noose version of the Boxville, which never made it to the final version of the game. Only for 2-star wanted levels.
Off the coast of Scranton.
Of course, shoot at the player. Would have been pretty cool to see, but unfortunately it never made it. The truck was also in GTA Chinatown Wars and GTA 4. It also appeared in the September 2022 leaks of GTA 6, driving around in its gold postal livery. So it'll be exciting to see the truck be in the modern trilogy of GTA games. While most cars that are driven by NPCs spawn without window tint, there are some models that will always have it. Like the Granger, for example, the Dubsta is another one as well, the Rancher, and the Stretch Limousine, to name a few. Well, the Limousine is kind of expected because, well, it is a limo. The Esperanto, Roman's taxi cab from GTA 4, isn't in GTA 5. But it kinda is. The Esperanto is in GTA 5, but only as a cop car up in North Yankton, and you cannot see it or drive it anywhere else other than North Yankton. Of course, if you use mods, you could get it. But
that guy said hello to you.
without mods, you can only get it in North Yankton. It can be seen during the prologue and doesn't have a civilian version. The Contender from GTA 4 also isn't in GTA 5. But it also kind of is. Well, there is actually a truck called the Contender in GTA 5, but it isn't the same truck from GTA 4. It's a new model entirely. But the Contender from GTA 4 is used for service trucks that can sometimes spawn around the map. Basically just the cab is used, and there is no civilian version of the model that was in GTA 4 in GTA 5. But there technically is a Contender. It's just not the same truck. The Jester and the Jester Classic make no sense. The Jester is based off of the 2nd gen Acura NSX, and the Jester Classic is based off of the Mark IV Supra. The Jester Classic should actually, in theory, be the 1st generation Acura NSX, which would be pretty cool to have. There are actually a good amount of examples like this, like the ZR350, which is based off of the Mazda FD RX-7, and the ZR380, which is based off of the Nissan 350Z. That example is actually quite bad compared to the first, as the cars are based off of entirely different models and makes. The Bravado Buffalo, which is of course a Bravado brand vehicle, is perfectly fine. But upon closer inspection, it actually has vapid floor mats. This of course makes no sense, as Bravado is Dodge in-game, and vapid is supposed to imitate Ford vehicles, so why are there vapid floor mats in a Bravado vehicle? Quite odd, and something...
Oh, I must spawn at a civilian airport.
Attention to floor mats. This guy right here. On the Lunar 2000, you can see the rockets mounted on the front bumper deplete as you are actively using them, which is some nice attention to detail, I will say. If you go over some bumps that are big enough and hold the gas and brakes at the same time, you can do what is known in GTA 5 as brake boosting, which of course gives you a small burst of speed. This was actually heavily utilized by speedrunners in GTA 5 story mode, as there are many bumps
Southampton,
they have to drive on, so the speedrunners would learn these bumps, learn where they were, and use them to get a better time and perfect.
I'm doing military charter.
Advantage, of course. I know this video is about
God damn.
helicopter facts. The police helicopter is named the Police Maverick, even though the regular Maverick is an entirely different looking model. The regular Maverick is more bulky with 2 propellers, and the Police Maverick is noticeably
I don't know what plane is good for military charter.
There was actually a Police Maverick that utilized the bulkier model, but this version never made it to the.
I'm gonna go with a United A320.
Was kind of a change that they never ended up changing.
Hey Mason, it's time for dinner.
To the final game.
I do not need an escort.
The quad exhaust option really only has 3 active exhausts. This can be seen when the vehicle backfires or when you're shooting flames or whatever, and there are only 3 exhausts exuding flames, while 1 does not. And now that I see this actually pisses me off every single time I drive the Zentorno. On the Yuga Classic 4x4,
thank you for subscribing.
On top of the van, which is pretty normal and standard, I would say, but because the Yuga has such a tiny front end and it doesn't go very far out.
Because a military charter plane does not need an escort. Just to go from point A to point B.
Turbo is the only naturally spawning vehicle in game to have a chance to have chrome already on it. This is especially notable because in the early days of GTA Online, chrome was a somewhat rare color. Having to complete and win 50 races in GTA Online which of course races were much more active. They
Alright,
were
I'll
a
be
much
back.
bigger thing than they
Alright, goodbye.
So having to win 50
Woohoo.
is kind of a big deal still today. Have you ever stolen a car and gone to take it to the custom shop only for it to say this vehicle is too hot to modify and wondered what it was? Well, this is a feature of older times, as when GTA Online first came out, they of course made it to where you can steal and kill most NPC cars on the road. However, some of these cars were too good to keep at the time. I mean, if you think about it, if you stole an Infernus, that was like a $400,000 car back then, which was a lot of money back in 2013. I mean,
gotta make a U-turn.
Cash. They didn't want players to have good cars off the rip, so they made it to where you had to buy the better cars, and that feature is still active today. The Contender has a front windshield that is slightly bullet resistant. What's odd is that the other windows are not resistant to bullets in any way, just the front, which I guess is mainly where you're gonna get shot from. You're not really gonna get shot from the sides. If you're chasing someone, they're gonna shoot your windshield, so I guess it is useful, but a little bit odd. The Patriot's hood opens up inverted, which is common on big rigs, but not civilian vehicles. I imagine they did this because this car is based off of the Hummer H2, which is of course a very large vehicle with a very large engine bay. Mounting it via the front grille gives you more space to work on your truck, and it's nice that Rockstar paid some nice attention to detail here, and did the same thing. Shout out if you have a Hummer, man. These are really cool trucks. The GP1 has extremely odd seats. It's almost like a bench with seats carved into it. They're not actually seats that are alone, you know, on their lonesome. It's like literally a bench with seats carved into it. It sucks because the rest of the interior is actually pretty good, but the seats are absolutely absurd looking. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any seats like this in any car, GTA Online, or real life. Whenever you exit your garage in a car, it gives you a loading screen and kind of just plops you outside right now. But it once actually played a cutscene of you driving out of your garage long ago. This was likely removed as players would just wait for you to leave your garage and you would be stuck in the loading screen, unable to do anything, unable to defend yourself, and then they would probably blow you up or something, but this has long been removed. In the mission Housekeeping of Casino Work, the Duggins steal the Thrax and it gets damaged, so you have to fix it at LS Customs. But if it gets damaged multiple times, you can actually go back and fix it, of course, but you can modify it by changing the color and the livery, which you're not supposed to do, obviously. The vehicle is supposed to have that kind of red-orange color, but you can add a livery, you can change the color, and Miss Baker will take it.
God damn it.
The Italy GTO Stinger TT has a front end that looks very happy. Kind of like those animes where the smiles are over-exaggerated.
I'm heading to McConnell Air Force Base.
Using the bulldozer, you can actually pick up rocks and place them in the back of a truck bed to live out your inner farm simulator self. That is, of course, if your truck can handle the immense weight in the back, which my truck really can, as you can see right here. When you start up the Buffalo EVX, it plays a fake engine startup sound. This is obviously to imitate the real-life Charger EV that also plays fake engine sounds whenever you rev it or whenever you start it up. This was a big gimmick, and this car failed miserably in real life, so much so that they're just going to put the Hemi in it after all, which is cool to see, but why even make an EV to begin with? This was pretty easy to see, but let me stop myself to move on. Sometimes when you are AFK for long enough, you will hear a car in the background speeding. This car uses the same audio track as the Feltzer. It's rumored, however, to be a special version of the Feltzer that never released. This audio track can still be heard in director mode with NPCs and traffic turned off, which is quite eerie as well, because obviously if traffic and NPCs are off, then who's making the noise in that car? It kind of just signifies that there's always someone out there while you're always doing something, makes the city feel more alive. Whenever I hear this sound, it's
God damn it.
that it's late and get off for the day or night. The car that can be heard in the background during the loading screen of GTA 5...
Whoa, shit, my landing goes down.
Hosting this holiday season? Let Tito's handmade vodka lend a hand. Because you may not have to leave the house, but that means everyone's in your house. Expecting 3 different styles of potatoes. Fresh.
Some think it's the Feltzer, but the Feltzer has a deeper rumble, at least to me. The Carbonazar sounds slightly more peaky and high-pitched overall. The pedals in older cars are actually just PNGs of pedals and not actual pedals. They didn't even cut them out fully. You can still see the black edges of the image. But granted, first person wasn't a thing back then. The Tulip M100 has an option to add twin turbos to the front, but when you open the hood, there are no turbos to be seen. Perhaps they are ghost turbos, or maybe if you imagine it enough, they are indeed there, but when you pop the hood, there's nothing there. They're only on the front, so they must be imaginary.
No.
Added cop cars available to us to purchase, they initially only allowed you to turn the lights on and off with the siren blaring, but sometime after, they added the ability to allow the lights to remain stagnant. This was greatly appreciated as someone who roleplays from time to time and doesn't want to blare the sirens on a traffic stop. You could just keep the Rockstar first added the cop cars, they intentionally made it so the resale value of the cop cars are 0. They do tell you this in the description before buying the vehicle, but I mean, who reads the description? I mean, I guess some people do, but I don't. They also probably did this because of duplication glitches. Fully modded cop cars can cost up to
I didn't want one in the first place, but I'll let you keep escorting me.
Or the Coquette. These can be really expensive. And at that point, the duplicated variant would sell for
Don't
like
tell 'em.
3 million. So that obviously would not be good for Rockstar. But it kind of sucks that everybody who doesn't do duplication glitches also has to pay the price for it. There was a police cruiser in the early versions of GTA 5 that more closely resembled the Stanier in-game. The Stanier is based off of the Ford Crown Victoria, at least primarily, and this cruiser never made it to the final version of GTA 5, and the generic police cruiser took its place. It sucks because I actually kind of think that this design looks better, but let me know what you think. You can make your own sled by stealing a truck with a trailer attached to it, blowing it up, and controlling the trailer via minigun. It actually works quite well, but just not very fast. But I mean, you're not trying to be fast in this thing. Or are you? Your vehicle will never spawn anyway, this will spawn closer to you in the direction you want the vehicle to spawn in, looking down while doing so. And the car will spawn pretty close to you as a result. A neat trick I used to get my car a little bit quicker. The rear license plate on the Journey is crunched up in a weird way. I thought it might have just been the dirty version of the Journey, but the clean version also has the same weird issue. It doesn't even look damaged. It literally looks like the license plate numbers can't fit on the actual plate, which is quite odd. Pretty sure Rockstar thought that no one would ever pay attention to this, but I did. There was a wrecked Ruiner car model that can be found in the various scrapyards across San Andreas. This model is obviously completely inoperable, but in the files there actually is the same car model that can drive. It looks extremely odd to see, and the only way to see this for yourself is to have a modder spawn it in, but it is really odd that Rockstar even made this a drivable model to begin with. In GTA 5, there are 5 cars that have both a rusty variant and a clean variant that can be found across the map. The Emperor, the Rebel, the Surfer, the Tornado, and the Voodoo. These once again are cars that have both a clean variant and a rusty variant, and you can find both on the map naturally. You do not have to buy these. If you ever buy a seasonal vehicle and then sell it at a later time for whatever reason you may have, you will always be able to buy it back no matter what time of year it is. Of course, you will only have one more year for this because GTA 6 supposedly releases in 2026, but now you have one more year to use it, so use it wisely. Every cop car will come standard with San Andreas exempt license plates. You cannot change these plates unless you mod the car or glitch it in some way. Exempt plates obviously signify a government official vehicle, so that's why they are on there. One motorcycle fact surely wouldn't hurt. The Defiler has probably the smallest attachments known to man. Firstly, the license plate, it's so tiny you could barely read it past like 5 feet. I mean, this thing is like a little kid license plate for like one of those little tight cars. The gauges are also extremely small and hard to see. The bike itself is pretty small as well, so Rockstar probably accommodated that, but the result is not at all pretty, I will say. This thing is so tiny, everything on it is tiny, but don't clip that. I'm sure most people, especially new players, know the Turismo as a car that released as part of the High Life update back in 2014 or 2013, and it is a pretty decent car right now, but whatever. But the Turismo was also in GTA 4, but it was based on an older Ferrari model at the time. Probably the Ferrari 360 is what I'm gathering the most from it. So it's weird that they chose to add the Turismo that we have in GTA 5. Not the Turismo
I do not have a private server, but sorry.
GTA 5 is actually a different Ferrari. It's the Ferrari F40, so it's a really big, jumble, messed up car structure. Which I kind of talked about earlier. The Stinger TT, as we know it now, used to have a different name. It used to be called the Italy GTO Stinger TT, and if it had HSW, then it would be called the Italy GTO Stinger TT HSW. But I guess Rockstar thought that name was too long, or maybe
I'm near McConnell.
Which is completely fair. So they shortened the name to the Stinger TT when Money Fronts came out. You cannot traditionally change the color of stock wheels on your car, but if the car you want is available at any of the dealerships, sometimes they will come with colored stock wheels. I don't know why Rockstar doesn't let us just change it ourselves, but whatever. If you go in first person inside the Insurgent, you can see that there are 2 speedometers. Why you will need 2 exactly? I have no idea. If you go in first person inside the stockade, it also has 2 speedometers. Maybe it's just for big trucks or something? When you're going really fast in a car or on a bike and you throw a C4, for some reason you turn into prime Tom Brady and are able to chuck the C4 hundreds of feet away. In GTA 4, there were 56 cars that later came to GTA 5 Online, and they are as follows: the Banshee, Comet, Infernus, Sultan RS, Cognoscenti, Dilettante, Emperor, Ingot,
Yes.
Oracle, Premier, Primo, Romero, Stratum, Stretch, Sultan, Washington, Dukes, Faction, Manana, Peyote, Ruiner, Saber GT, Stallion, Vigero, Virgo, Voodoo, Vista Compact, Pluto, Burrito, Cavalcade, Habanero, Landstalker, Minivan, Moonbeam, Patriot.
Had a theory that only Elmers could hold up to our most
Fuck.
extreme fun test. We started making our own, inventing and pushing.
Speedo, Fagio, PCJ 600, Sanchez, Zombie, Ambulance, FIB Buffalo, Fire Truck, Benson, Boxville, Forklift, Mule, Packer, Phantom, Ripley, Stockade, labeled in GTA 4 as the Secura car, Airtug, Bus, and the Trash Master. Phew. The Sentinel GTS has a front logo that lights up with the headlights, but when you turn on the high beams, it no longer lights up for some reason. On the side of the Stockade, it says in partnership with the Bank of Liberty, and you may be wondering why. Well, the Stockade was also in GTA 4 as well, like previously mentioned, and the main bank of GTA 4 is the Bank of Liberty City. So either Rockstar just forgot to remove this or left it as a nice nod to the past. If you pop the rear hood on the Suzumi, you can see 2 battery packs. Who cares about a V12 or anything like that? We got battery packs, buddy. Ugh. The secondary color on the Sentinel GT
On final approach to McConnell Air Force Base.
on the car. The brake calipers, 2 little pieces in the headlights, the front grille trim, and the interior stitching. Quite inconvenient because if you want only red brake calipers, you also have.
I guess if my audio is glitched.
Which is quite inconvenient. On the Everon RS, there's an option to remove the tailgate.
It is not glitched.
You have the option to open and close the trunk, and you can in fact hear the tailgate open.
Bro.
The Everon RS is also classified as an SUV for some reason. This is clearly a truck and should at least be in the off-road category or something. The Everon RS also has the option to add plastic wheel arches. If you look closely at the plastic here, it is actually very highly detailed. You can see the ridges and texture of the plastic, which is some nice attention to detail indeed, and this is what we are likely to expect in GTA 6, so it being here is quite nice. In most electric cars, you can still find a fuel gauge inside the interior, even though obviously electric cars do not need fuel. They need electricity, so maybe they should have a battery meter or something. The PP Strello has 2 start buttons inside the interior, one on the wheel and one in the middle. So which one do you press exactly? I have no idea. If you have an old car that for some reason doesn't have yellow headlights and you would like yellow headlights, you can take it to the Arena War workshop or agency or one of those special garages and add either yellow or golden shower lights, kind of a strange name, depending on how yellow you want the headlights to look for that old school retro feel.
Oh god, I'm way too high. This is an ass landing.
It's essentially impossible to do a long wheelie on this thing because the car has so much torque. It's impossible. You could try for yourself. It just won't happen. The Minimus, the new car based off of the Nissan.
That was such a shitty landing.
V12 underneath the hood.
That was not my best right there.
When I first discovered this because, oh my god, I was absolutely flabbergasted when I saw a V12 under the hood of this Nissan Maxima. It's so ridiculous. I have absolutely no clue what the Rockstar dev was thinking when they added this. Maybe they were just on something good. I don't know. The rear seats in the Minimus also don't look finished at all. It's just pitch black with no stitching, no detail, no nothing. Maybe the car was rushed because with the details in this
we're not going to talk about that.
The Hardy has a front bumper called the Boso Zoku bumper that has a splitter about 2.5 feet long. What's weird is that if you ram the front of the car into a wall or something, you can also break the headlights somehow, even though theoretically it should be impossible to break the headlights by ramming the car into a wall in this thing, because it would hit the splitter before it hits the headlights, but whatever. The Woodlander also uses the same engine as the Sultan RS Classic, which does make sense as they are both Subarus or Karens made around the same time period, so engine sharing is to be expected. The Niobe, or Niobe, however you want to say it, has a cute little chime whenever you get in or get out of the car.
I will be your escort.
The Western Police race bike is not actually classified as a motorcycle. It's classed as an emergency vehicle, which also means you wouldn't be able to use it in a motorcycle race. The Chimera has the most ridiculous license plate I've ever seen in my life. First off, it's so tiny, I don't know how an officer is expected to read this thing, but it is also sideways, meaning the officer gotta break his neck just to read a license plate, which is, of course, very nice. If a player is already in the car wash for a customer and you enter the car wash for a customer as well, it will glitch out and prematurely end the car wash in about 5 seconds. On the front fender of the Peyote, it has a badge that says V10 Supercharged. Other than being set backwards, it indeed does not have a V10, nor a supercharged V10 at that, as you can clearly see right here. The Peyote also has a custom license plate frame that says Peyote. Other cars do have this, like the Lunar for example, but it is rare to see one regardless. The Click Wagon only sits 2 people, even though you can clearly see a back seat in there. Rockstar probably did this because it is a 2-door, and the animation for getting into a 2-door rear seat would be quite odd indeed, or non-existent. You'd probably just teleport right into the back, so unfortunately only 2 people can sit in this 4-seater. The Kalahari, a vehicle you probably have never even seen or knew existed before I just mentioned it, has the single weirdest shifter I've ever seen on an automobile, in real life, or in a game. It comes out from underneath the dashboard and sticks out like a foot. I don't even know how this would work, and there's also another stick thingy poking out right next to it, but I assume that's the parking brake or something, and I don't know how you would shift something that's horizontal, like, do you move it up and down compared to, like, side to side? I have no idea. If somebody knows, please tell me in the comments, because I would actually be very curious to know. The Raptor has a tiny window at the bottom of the front of the car that isn't so much a window as it is a windscreen. You can actually tint this window as well, which is probably the single most useless window tint to ever exist, but you can do it here. The Postlude has a great steering wheel. Looks very much like the Preludes from around that time, which is great, but Dinka is slightly cut off at the bottom of the text. It was almost perfect though. I mean, this steering wheel, spinning image. But they decided changing the trim color on the Postlude also changes this tiny little piece that the rear view mirror hangs from. Most people would probably never even notice this, and I had to notice it as a person and looking at the secondary color, but it is very nice to see. Newer cars have better quality mirror than older cars. Still not great quality, but better than the older cars, that's for sure. Most of the cars that do have this better quality mirror as well are
my
probably
controller is so
GTA
fast.
6 that were ported to GTA 5 and then back to GTA 6 whenever that comes out. If you open your door in the way of traffic, NPCs will actually avoid your door, even if you do it while they're relatively close to your car already.
Bro. What are y'all playing?
I'm still playing Roblox.
Fuck.
I'm gonna hop on the other game in a minute. In a few.
What is the other game?
I don't want to say it.
Oh. That or just yeah.
Warner has a badge on the back.
Which one's better?
Not only is this weird because I've never seen a
I don't know, bro.
I
After yesterday, GTA kind of pissed me
but
off.
it is also false.
Same here, bro.
6 speed, as you can see right here. So not only is it weird, it is a lie. The headlights on the
But
You guys
I
go
really
tomorrow?
do want to do that race thing I said and do the hide and seek that we didn't do yesterday.
But it's weird nonetheless. If you shoot the rear battery in the Cyclone, the bullets will go right through the battery and hit the floor. What's even weirder is that
Which I don't know how much stuff I have on my main account.
It doesn't have any actual texture to it and doesn't
Maybe 2
have
hours
any
later
physical
tomorrow.
property. It will still react as if you are shooting the engine or the battery in
But
this case and blow
I don't know how
up.
much stuff I have on my main account, but I want to stream it
Quite a
to
lot of interesting
able to connect more than one account to your Twitch and
No.
has a different spoiler option than the convertible. The convertible is smaller and skinnier overall, while the coupe is more beefy. The coupe also only has one exhaust option, while the convertible has 3 exhaust options. If you pop the hood on either variant, you can see that it also says Obey 9F very aggressively, which is certainly quite odd, but I guess cool. What's even more odd is that the front bumper has a major gap in between the front trunk area. It's not even connected to the chassis or anything, it's just mysteriously floating. A very quirky car that everybody knows about, but nobody truly knows, if you read me. When GTA 5 first came out, Rockstar more or less only made one animation for starting a car. You get in, turn the ignition, the car turns on, and then you go. But GTA Online has been out for so long at this point that most new cars now have a push to start instead of a traditional ignition switch. But the old animation of turning the key is still used on some of these new cars with a push to start, which is just chef's kiss, because why are you turning the key when there's a button right there, bro? If you ever feel like wasting $7,000, buy the barbed wire for the roof of the Pounder Custom in your nightclub. It does absolutely nothing. Even if it did, I can't say many people have tried jumping on top of my truck while I was selling nightclub goods, but you know, it's there if you want it. There's a spoiler option for the Italy GTB Custom that is called the Custom Secondary Body, but it's not actually the secondary.
Got eyes on the escort. Or the aircraft I'm escorting. I'm focused on I just hit Mark. Why are these two fuckers like arguing about flight hours on this game, bro?
Who?
Two randos just arguing about if flight hours matter. This is so fucking stupid. Check snap.
I feel like flight hours wouldn't matter.
It doesn't in this game. Yeah, passed.
Like, I feel like someone who's beginning at the game could absolutely fucking body someone who's been playing for a while. Depends on if they're good at the game or not. Is what it really relies on.
What the fuck, dude? Mark.